Hello everyone, this is Maria Smeshkova and welcome to my next Graphic 45 project. I have chosen Little Things album in a box tutorial by Maria Cole and I will level it up. So, I'm going to use for this project 12 by 12 Life is Abundant patterns and solid pack, 12 by 12 Life is Abundant calendar collection pack, ivory flower set, blue flower set, Life is Abundant stamp set, and album in a box. And I have this metal handle and I'm going to use it too. So let's start. Step 1. I don't have journaling cards, so I'm cutting them from my sheet. These elements are 3 inches by 4 inches. I've cut out 2 blue papers that are 4 inches by 6 inches from blue sheet. I'm gonna score both of these elements on the top at half of an inch. And I'm gluing them inside my blue elements. Maybe this way. Step 2. I've cut 2 green pieces 4.5 by 7 inches. Score both those pieces at 3.5 on the 7-inch side. 3.5. And I'm gluing my blue element on my green element this way. Step 3. I've cut 2 pieces from this sheet and I'm going to glue them on my booklets. Step 4. I've cut 2 elements 5 by 5 inches using this sheet, and I've cut 3 elements 5 by 1 3/4 inches. and I've used this sheet. Step 5. I don't have journal cards, so I've cut this element 5 by 2¼ inches. Step 6. I'm taking my box and gluing this element. I want to cut a little. I will glue this element here, but at first I want to make embossing. I will use gold embossing powder by Ranger, this one. Step 7. I'm gluing this element here. This element in the center. And these 3 elements inside the box here. Step 8. I've cut 2 green pieces 5 by 3½ inches. Step 9. I found a red sheet and cut 2 pieces 5 by 1½ inches and 3 pieces 4 7/8 by 1½ inches. I have not cut yellow elements because I will use these parts of different sheets instead them. Step 10. My cards from 12 by 12 pad so big for my album, so I decided to use my 8 by 8 pad. I will cut these 2 elements and I will use them instead of journaling cards. These cards have places for photo. Place for photo, place for photo. Step 11. I like to make frame around my scrapbook paper elements, so I want to make this element smaller. Now I've got 4 3/4 by 3 3/8 element, and I'm going to glue it here. This is my first page. Now I'm going to make smaller this red element. It is 5 by 1.5 inches. Now I've got 1.25 by 3.75 inches element. Now I want to cut this element and this butterfly. I've got 5/8 by 4.75 element, and I'm gluing it here, and I'm adding butterfly. Step 12. I've cut blue pieces 4.25 by 3.75 inches, and I've made score line on 1/2 of an inch on the 3.75 inch side. Step 13. I've cut red pieces 3.75 by 9.5 inches, and I'm scored at 9.75 inches horizontally. And I'm gluing blue pieces inside my red pieces, this way. Step 14. I've cut 4 elements 3.5 by 4 inches from scrapbook paper. And I've made score line 1/2 of an inch from the top. And I'm going to glue them on the red element this way. Now I'm going to make the closure for my waterfall. I've cut 1 by 3 red piece, and I'm making score lines at 1/2 an inch and one, two, three, 4, 5 and 5/8 an inch. And now I need to add 2 magnets. I have these. And now I can glue this element on the page 2 here. Step 16. I've got 3 elements. They are 3 by 4.5 inches, and I've made score line at 1/2 an inch here. And I've got 3 red elements. They are 3/8 by 9.75 inches, and score in half at 4 7/8. Flip it up, and I'm taking these elements. So I want to make red elements smaller. I'm gluing it that way. And then I'm gluing this element inside. Now I'm taking this red element and also want to make it smaller. Now it is 4.75 by 1.5, and I'm gluing it here. Going to cut this and these elements. This element is 4 3/4 by 3/4, and I'm gluing it here. And I'm taking green element from step 8. Now it is 4 3/4 by 3 3/8, and I'm gluing it here. Then I'm taking red element. Now it is 1 1/4 by 4 3/4, and gluing it here. And I'm adding thin strip on the pocket. And I will cut this card for this pocket. Step 18. I've glued all elements on page 11 and on page 12. So I've cut this element from this sheet and these two elements from this sheet. Step 19. I want to cut 4 stamps. For this step, I will cut this one, this one, and this one. Step 20. I will make a border for my stamps from leftovers. Step 21. I've cut 4 red pieces, 3 by 1 3/4 each. Step 22. I'm gluing my stamps on the red pieces only on the right side. Step 23. I've cut 4 pieces 4¾ by 4¾ and 4 pieces 3½ by 4¼ Step 24. I'm taking 3 elements and gluing them on the page 3. I'm going to page 7 and I will glue here these elements. Then I will go to page 9 and will glue other elements, and on the page 13 I will glue these elements. Step 25. I cut 4 3½ by 3½ inches squares, and I cut 4 3 7/8 by 7¾ inches elements, and I've made score line in the middle of these my elements, and I've made score lines at 3 7/8 on the center. And now I'm going to glue my squares into the big elements. This way. This way. And this way. I've cut 4 3/4 by 4¾ inches elements. I don't have cards, and I will not use frames in this album, so I'm missing step 27 and step 28. And now I will make step 29. I'm going to glue this element on the page 4. Then I'm going to glue maybe blue this element. Yeah. Step 30. I'm going to glue other elements on the pages 8 10 and 14. Step 31. I've cut one 7 by 4 3/4 element, 2 5 by 1.5 inches elements, and 2 5/8 by 4 3/4 elements. Step 32. I've cut 6.5 by 4 1/4 element and 4 3/4 by 2 5/8 element from this sheet. And I'm going to glue red element here and my black element here. Step 33. I've cut this card from this sheet and I'm going to glue it on my blue booklet here. Step 34. I've cut 2 4 3/4 by 4 3/4 elements. Pages 5 and 6. I'm gluing my 2 big elements here and here. I'm going to glue these 2 elements as pockets. And now I'm gluing these 2 elements. I've cut these cards for my pockets from 8 by 8 sheets. Step 35. You can adhere album to the inside box spine, but I want to make extra cover for my album. I've cut 5 by 3 1/4 element from 4 suede and I'm going to glue it on my album spine. I've cut two 5 by 5 inches chipboard pieces from Graphic 45 black chipboard sheets, and I want to glue my chipboard element on suede here and here. I've cut 3 4 3/4 by 4 3/4 pieces and going to glue them here, here, and here. And here I want to glue one 4 1/4 by 4 3/4 piece and another 2 3/8 by 4 3/4 piece as a pocket. I've glued my pieces. And I've cut one 5 by 3 1/4 piece from suede, and I'm going to glue it on my cover. I'm making edge with my scissors. And I want to glue it here. My album is almost ready. I want to add some decorative elements here and cards. Step 36. I've cut 6 1/4 by 5 1/8 piece and I've scored it at 2 inches and 4 1/8 inches. Step 37. I'm going to glue my element here. And I will adhere it just the back and front parts. I'm missing step 38 and I'm going to step 39. I've got card. It's 5 1/8 by 4 3/4 inches, and I'm going to glue it on my back side here. I'm missing steps 40 and 41 and I'm going to step 42. For my front side, I've cut 5 1/8 by 5 1/8 piece and going to glue it here. Step 43. I've got 3 5 1/4 by 1 3/4 inches pieces and I'm going to glue them on my box. Steps 44 and 45. I've cut 1 by 5 1/8 element and I'm going to add my handle, metal handle here using the brads. And I've got 7/8 by 5 inches piece from this side and 1 3/4 by 5 inches piece for this side. Now I'm going to level up this project, and at first I want to cut all cards, other elements from my leftovers. For example, I can cut all this element and use them in my album. And second, I want to make die cuts from scraps using my dies. I will use these pieces. Now I want to decorate my album cover, and I've prepared some elements. I've cut slide frames using my die cuts, using my dies, and I printed some numbers, some background on them. For background, I used Graphic 45 stamp, this one. I'm going to use this stamp on this frame. For numbers, I used Tim Holtz stamp set, this, and this. And I've cut images for my slide frames from scrapbook paper. And I'm going to use some die cuts from black cardstock. I've inked them using my vintage gold wax by Prima. And also I will use wings. They are from Wings set by Tim Holtz. And I want to add the phrase on my cover, so I'm using quad tips and inked it using Distress Oxide Antique Linen color. So let's decorate my album cover. And now album cover is ready. I've prepared some decorative elements for decoration my album pages. I will use die cuts. I used different die sets for making them. I like to use these sets, and also for this album I used these dies, They are from Graphic 45. Also, I prepared these circles. It was regular circles, but then I used embossing folder, this one. After embossing folder, I've used wax, vintage gold wax from Prima. Also, I've used stamps and embossing powder for making these elements. This one, this one. So I prepared a lot of elements for decoration. Now I want to add decorative elements on my album pages. First and second page are ready. So now I'm going to decorate all my pages. At first, I added all the names of the months to the album pages. And also I added this card in this pocket. I've made resin elements for decoration my box. And now I'm going to ink them using my Prima boxes. I've cut background for my frame and I want to glue it here. And then I want to glue my butterfly on my frame. And it will be focal point. I added leaves and flowers on my box, and now I want to glue my focal point here, and then I'm going to add sequins, art stones, medium size and small size. And now I want to add the paint. Finally, my box is ready. And I want to show you all pages in in my album and my finished project. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Bye bye!